Welcome back. Each night at this time, we will discuss solutions to the problems plaguing our country. Tonight, I'd like to talk about homelessness, poverty, and hunger, and how most of the top 10 cities in each of these categories just so happen to be run by Democrat mayors. Before we begin, listen to this.
What's your name?
Steven.
Steven? How did this happen to you?
Work went downhill.
What kind of work did you have?
Electrical.
And what happened?
It's construction, and so it's not always happening.
Did you used to have a home?
Had a 3-bedroom house.
Do you ever go look for any work?
Yes. I just got laid off from the Hyatt. If I don't work, I don't eat.
What about welfare from the state?
I got the food stamps, and then I got a letter saying I no longer can get them. I'm sick of living like this.
Who do you blame all this on? Do you blame this on the president?
Yeah. They just don't understand.
How many people are you saying are living down this whole trail right now?
14.
So the AC is in the window here.
Yeah.
And you have the generator. Yeah. And what do you run that at nighttime?
Not at night because it's cool. In the daytime. Like now, I need to start it up. It's too hot.
What's that badge?
Security. I'm the security part-time. So hopefully, living like this, I can kind of save and do better.
Are you getting any sort of benefits at all from the state of Hawaii?
Well, I was getting welfare, EBT.
Yeah.
But that's going to be cut back because I work extra now.
How difficult is it to raise a child?
Oh yeah, it's pretty difficult raising a child around here because they're burning everything down. And then a lot of times there'll be bodies found in the houses.
Bodies found? Dead bodies?
Yeah, so, I don't know.
What, killed or drug overdoses?
Mostly killed and left in the houses.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many videos I have like that. Joining me here to discuss this is Republican strategist Ryan Gradowski, NewsmaxTV contributor and flaming liberal Rick Unger, and Democrat strategist Harlan Hill. Let me just say this. In the panel tonight, going to give each one of you guys a minute to respond to what we just saw, and then we're going to discuss it like gentlemen. Do want to point this out before I go to you first, Ryan. 9 of the 10 cities in America with the highest rate of homelessness run by Democrats. 7 of the 10 with the lowest incomes run by Democrats. Hungriest cities in America, 7 of 10 run by Democrats. What seems to be the problem other than Democrats?
Well, you know, there are a bunch of problems, and there's a constant conversation of what creates poverty. Poverty isn't created. Poverty is the status quo. Wealth is created, and money goes where money is welcomed. The extreme rich, the 1% that everyone keeps blaming things on, they have more flexibility to move around, to leave. The middle class oftentimes gets tackled with the regulations and the heavy-handedness of government. And when you're looking at hunger, most of those cities that are the hungriest cities are also the cities with the heaviest populations of new Americans, immigrants, illegal and legal, and a lot of them are on the Mexican-American border. So it's impossible. There's no city in this world that can deal with the massive flow of 2 million legal and illegal immigrants per year imported into our country, most of which are poor, and most of which are, the median age is 41. They're middle-aged, poor people with no skills. That helps create more poverty.
Rick.
It's interesting because if we were just going to look at this as present mayors, and your numbers, by the way, are absolutely right. I could quibble with that and say, well, it takes a long time to get to poverty. But the truth is, most of these cities have had Democratic mayors for a very long time. So if you're going to analyze this in terms of which party does best, you're right. Democrats have not done a good job. What's more frustrating to me, there are some programs out there, one in particular, it's called the Home First program, that was tried primarily by Republican mayors, Republican governors, and it has been immensely successful to the point where the Bush administration adopted it as the program they most preferred, and rightly so, because what they're finding is it's not only getting people off the streets and into homes, but when they get into those homes, even with subsidies, they're spending less than what they spent on those people when they were on the street. These Democratic mayors have got to get it together, stop playing politics with this, and stop being lazy because they have a base in these cities. We know who they are. We know the inner city. We know who's voting, and start doing their job.
I'm almost ready to pass out. Go ahead. I knew I would convert you over to the good side.
I hate to say it, but I agree. I think it's time for Democrats to do a lot of self-reflection. No, seriously, I think it's time that we do a lot of self-reflection. It's clear that you're talking about the inner city. This disproportionately affects people of color. We've seen that household median income under the Obama administration has fallen. It's down 9% since 2008. It's clear that whatever Democrats are doing isn't working. Conversely, though, I'm not sure that Republicans are really out trying to address this issue either. I mean, you look at the SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, and there are potentially cuts to that coming out of Congress as well, which is a real cause for concern for me.
There's actually failure on all parties on the federal level because they play so much politics with this, both sides, and it's not necessary. You look at legitimate governors, Utah being the best example, Republican governor for as long as I can remember, they're not playing politics and they're having enormous success.
I want to throw up one more video. Look at this from South Chicago.
Well, why are all the shootings taking place? Is it drugs? Is it gangs? What is it?
Drugs, money, violence, everything you think of that's got to do with Chicago.
So you're not afraid to do hard work?
No, I'm not afraid of that.
No? I mean, are there a lot of jobs around here for kids your age?
It's really not a lot of jobs. It's very hard to get a job these days.
I went into South Chicago pretty much by myself. They looked at me like I had 10 heads. Like, what are you doing here? Because I don't look like I'm buying drugs, which I wasn't. I've never used a drug in my life. I mean, they're like, what are you doing? Right. And I mean, I get the chills even saying this. We're going to lose that kid. Yeah. We're going to lose him. He wants to work. Yeah. His friends are getting shot in the middle of the day. Yeah. We're going to lose him. And you know what? President Obama, that's his home. Yeah. And he's leaving these people. The Democrats, what they do is they sell these people that conservatives are evil. And then what they do is they forget about him once the election's over.
So I have to say, I think it's important that we recognize that there's only so much that you can do about this issue on the federal level. Yes, it's its home, but I would really put the blame at the feet of Rahm Emanuel. Currently.
Who has a really big, huge D next to his name.
He does, yeah.
Okay.
We'll acknowledge that. But it's clear that these people aren't being reached out to by anybody in the Emanuel administration. They're a forgotten, class of people in a Western democracy. It's really sad. It really is.
It is sad.
That's because blacks, while they make up the strongest supporters of the Democratic Party, 91%, 92% on any given year will vote Democrat, their votes are guaranteed. So they mean the least to Democrats. Democrats will much rather throw to the ethnic lobbyists with the Hispanics or the radical feminists or the gay lobby for the money or whoever, which is the newest victim group in season. And that is
both sides do it.
No Democrats really do. When have the Republicans ever thrown caveats at the black vote to sit there and win them?
Black voters. I'm sorry.
But they don't. They treat black voters horribly. That's why black voters have declined on almost every economic segment during President Obama's tenure because Democrats know they can't lose them. So they play to their ethnic politics. They play to the groupthink that happens a lot in the African American community. And the only good thing is that 1 in 5 black men under 30 voted against the first black president in 2012. So the groupthink is certainly breaking
And let me
up.
tell you, a lot of them are starting to weigh toward the Trump campaign. But I want to do this. I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to let you be first, all right? Because we got 3 minutes left, and this is great. I want to talk about solutions. I got smart people around the board here, and I'm going to go with you because you're the elder statesman.
Truly.
You've lived life.
The advantage of having graduated.
All three of us together are not your age.
When you graduate high school with Abraham Lincoln, you know this. Okay. So look.
What do we do? How do we solve this? Come on, no Democrat, no Republican. How do we do this?
Exactly.
You got 20 seconds.
The first program. It's not Democrat, it's not Republican. That poor gentleman we just looked at, I guarantee you he's getting some kind of social support. He's getting welfare, he's getting unemployment, he's getting something. I'm happy to give it to him. But you know what I want in return? I want him to show up at the community center every single day and go do a job for the community. It's going to give him self-respect. It's going to give benefit to the community. He's going to be working for the money he gets, and he's going to learn how to do something for when he can get a job.
That is a Republican answer.
No, it's not.
Go ahead. No, you know what it is? It's an American answer.
It's an American
answer. You put the incentive back into being great again.
That's not enough, though, in my book. We need to create a culture and an economy of opportunity, and that means creating private sector jobs for these people. There's not enough that we can generate through community service jobs to get us where we need to be. We're talking about potentially millions of people that are underserved and on the brink, one missed paycheck away from homelessness. It's a real concern.
Okay, but let me say this,
Yeah.
all right? I've been an entrepreneur my entire life before I became a TV guy. I have had probably about 1,000 employees. You think I'm going to open a business in South Chicago? The good people of South Chicago, 90% of the crime is being created by 10% of the people, all right? The people in South Chicago, and Detroit, and Baltimore, and cities like that across the country, they get up at 6 a.m., their day is finished at 1 p.m. Why? Because the criminal element comes out at 1:01 p.m., and they can't get anything done. These people are sitting there like this, and they all get bunched in, and they all, you know, and I'm not saying that there aren't people who are just sitting on the porch and don't want to do anything else, all right? But at the same time we got to go in there and get rid of these absolute dirtbags that are going to put that kid in a grave.
Yeah.
What's your solution? We got a minute.
All right. On the federal level, you need to reform the trade agreements that have kicked off a lot of middle-class jobs. You need to reform the immigration policy that lower wages for working-class people 10% over the last 10 years. You need to also reform the drug laws that sit there and make people unemployable after they've been arrested. Those are big, big things. On the local level, and you also need to reform welfare so that way if you make $1 over the legal limit, you're not completely kicked off the system. It's more of a weaning off of the system. And then on the local level, there has to be a way to clean up crime in high crime neighborhoods. There has to be a way to reform public education in these neighborhoods. Maybe involved. You know, we have a lot of good teachers and we have a lot of bad students, and we have to find a way to take students who could sink or swim out of the bad schools and put them into good schools with other good students.
I think this kid's going to grow up to be the president of the United States. I'll tell you that right now. Or at least my VP.
I didn't hear one Republican or Democratic solution. I heard good solutions.
Americans. Yep, that's what it's all about. Thanks, guys. Great panel. I hope we offered some value there to people. When we come back,